Dana White Contender Series 2024, Week 5. Let's get to these breakdowns. I'm going to break down all the videos. I'm Andy from WagerTalk.com. If you could hit the like button, really helps me out with the algorithm. Leave a comment. If you don't have a great comment, just type the word tender. Tender, as in contender. All right, let's get into it here. We're going to start with a fight that is going to be pretty tough to predict. Corinne Laframboise and Nicolle Caliari. I believe that's how those names are pronounced. I'm going by what I heard at weigh-ins earlier today. I'm recording this on Monday, so I'm pronouncing these names based on what the woman at at weigh-ins said. Um, this fight is kind of tough. Actually, I'm going to start with Caliari here. So this promotion, I you just can't really find that much film. These some of these videos are blocked from in the U.S. So I can't really find fight music show. So I tried, but can't really find anything. Losing to Kay Hansen when Kay Hansen was, I believe, 20 years old. Pretty big of a red flag. I was able to watch that. Now, this was a long time ago. Surely she's gotten better. She definitely looks a lot stronger and more powerful. That's not a great look here. So she has some wins against fighters with winning records, but again, over there, I'm not really sure. I honestly, I'm really not sure what to make of her. I just haven't seen enough film to tell you I know what she's going to do or what her style is going to be. So I really don't have an opinion on her. And since this is a betting show, we don't like uncertainty. So I'm just going to tell you to kind of stay away from this one. Here's what I know about Laframboise. So she took a big time off. I believe she had a baby. Um, I did like her last few fights. So this last fight she had against Jimenez, I'm pretty sure she took it easy on Jimenez. Like, it goes down as a triangle choke. She had this woman's arm completely in an arm bar, and I really think if she wanted to, she could have snapped it in half. And I think she was being really nice. She looked very calm when she got the takedown. Very good positioning, very good power. She turned it into a triangle, but my gut feeling is that she knew she could have really done some serious damage to her opponent, and she just didn't. Nice KO here against Ober, but man, is terrible. So she, but credit to her, she got the knockout, absolutely flatlined Ober. Really good grappling and submission. I'm guessing we were going to see some takedowns, some grappling, some wrestling, and this fight to try and go on the ground if you're Laframboise. Her four losses are really interesting. Manuel Fiorot, who's obviously a title contender, Jamie Lynn Horth, UFC fighter, Jade Basad Wong, who is having success in bare knuckle. So her losses are to legit fighters. This big break kind of worries me. We've seen some of these female fighters come back from having a baby. Sometimes they look great, and then other times they look really terrible. There's way too much uncertainty in this fight. I have no opinion. I think the odds kind of suggest that it's like minus 125. Um, for purposes of this video, because I know that there's people that like to watch this video after Contender Series is over, and if I get a pick wrong, point it out in the comment section. Which, by the way, I need a nickname for people like you. I'm going to pick Laframboise. It is certainly not going to make the client card. It is not going to be a bet that I make with my own money. We move on. Tanzilov and Musasa. I will start with Musasa here. This guy, he is violent. He's got some really violent finishes against some awful opponents, like downright laughable, awful opponents. However, kudos to him because he made no mistake that he was a much better fighter and the much more violent fighter. Um, this is important to note because it's very different from the guy he's facing. This guy's already fought 3 times this year. Now, he's obliterated these guys. Leg kicks look great. Striking looks great. Yes, you could absolutely poke holes in who he's fought, but he did beat a 5-1 fighter and a 6-1 fighter. The flying knee was great. It was, man, was that a brutal flying knee. He's very athletic. If you didn't see him at weigh-ins, shredded. He's a big underdog, and I gotta tell you, I don't really understand why. I got a lot of holes in Tanzilov's game. Um, So Tanzil's 26. We haven't seen him in a while. His last couple fights are really interesting because his fight against Eduardo Denise, he showed this like his striking looked really good, like really crisp jabs, really quick in and out of the pocket. But then he's holding his hands down at at his side. And, he didn't look like I don't say like professional. I guess he does get the win in the third round, so kudos to him. But then this next fight, his opponent like takes him down and lays on top of him. I'm pretty sure it's tied going into the third round, and he's not looking. Tanzilov is not looking that good. And then his opponent gets tired. Tanzilov gets one takedown early in the round and just lays on him and gets the win. So I watched him have pretty good striking. I've seen him knock out guys with really good body work. And then I see him get tired. Like he got tired in this fight with the grappling. Um, since we haven't seen him, you got a fighter that we haven't seen in a while versus a guy that's already fought 3 times this year. Musasa doesn't have a ton of film out there, but at plus 210, yeah, I think that's the way to play it. Like Tanzilov probably is the more complete fighter. But at minus 270, no, I cannot put this in parlays or get to the window on this one. I think Musasa's got some really, really scary KO power, and it wouldn't surprise me if he caught Tanzilov a little bit off guard. Now, could Tanzilov have been like really, really fine tuning his game and comes out looking great? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not willing to pay this price to find that out. So if you're looking for underdogs, Musasa's, I think you could do worse. I do think though, the longer this fight goes, I think Tanzilov should pull away a little bit because Musasa seems to be a lot of explosion and not doesn't set up his strikes a lot because he really hasn't had to. So Tanzilov probably is going to end up being the more technical guy. But as far as explosion, knockout power, finishing ability, do not sleep on Musasa. I expect that to be a pretty fun fight. My guy, Belgaroui, we loved him last season of Contender Series. We talked about him when he fought Marco Tulio, and I thought that fight was great. I thought both guys looked fantastic. And what happens? Tulio, as you know, he comes back. He gets the finish on Contender Series, and so I'm glad to see Belgaroui back. Belgaroui goes in like really good performances. He didn't get credit for this finish, but he beat the you know what out of this guy. Buggery is long. These elbows are fantastic. He knows how to use his distance. Sometimes you see these really tall guys and they're awkward. Buggery is not. Buggery knows how to use his leg kicks. He knows how to use the jab. And if you shoot on him, he is ready to light you up with the elbows. So I love him. This is my most confident play on here. I know he's the best. I know he's a favorite, but in my defense, I mentioned how good I thought Bulgari looked when he fought Marco Tulio. So I don't really have a whole lot of great things to say for Iwasaki. He just doesn't throw a lot of volume in my opinion. Like his last two fights, he loses. And then this fight against Kim, like, yeah, okay, he won and Kim was kind of bloodied up, but there was a lot of moments of boring clinch work and control, and he couldn't get him out of there. And Kim does not look like that great of a fighter. Um, he just doesn't really impress me. So this guy's 7-6. He goes to decision. Lovato's undefeated and he loses. And then look at who he's beating: a 1-4, 0-0, 1-5, 0-1, 0-0, 2-2, 4-12. I know you can't like judge everything by the caliber of opponent, but I just know like when it seems like he stepped up in competition, he's lost and he struggled to finish a guy that I don't think is very good. So Belgaroui is absolutely the pick. This is a very interesting conversation here, real quick, about over-unders. The overs I started playing more overs on this last UFC card. It just feels like there's so much value on overs right now, and that these fights that we really truly expect to not go the distance, they end up going the distance. I know a lot of people were on the under and the main event on Contender Series last week. It just didn't happen. I go to the Trevor Peak fight from Saturday. A lot of people thought that was going to go under, and these fights are just not. I do think the gloves have a lot to do with it. Feels like these power strikers when they face each other, if it doesn't, or if there's not a finish in round one, it's just going the distance. For whatever reason, the knockout just doesn't seem to be there in rounds 2 and 3 at the rate that it has been. Submissions seem like they're being harder and harder to come by. I think the defense is getting much better as time goes on, and so it's just harder to wrap up submissions on a lot of these guys. Honestly, rear naked choke has kind of become the one that you see. When was the last time like you saw an awesome like triangle from the guard in UFC? It just doesn't happen. I bring this up because I think Belgaroui should finish. I know he's got the power. I know he's got the striking and the elbows. But if this ends up getting clinched, I'm not ready to take some of these contender series guys by finish because we just see him end up going the distance. Go to Will Curry's fight. I would have thought that was easily not going to go the distance. Goes the distance. So Belgary is the pick. I just am not going to play him inside the distance. I can't do it. If you're looking to play totals, it's overs, and you're looking for some really good over spots. On our UFC stream, we parlayed like 3 fights like to go over, and they hit. So it's Belgary, but I caution about trying to predict these fights to not go the distance because there's something in the water at UFC and Contender Series. Steele and Ottoni. Here's another one. Kody Steele is a big favorite. I don't agree with the odds. I think Tony has something for him. So Kody Steele is going to have relentless pressure forward. He's going to try and clinch. He's going to try and wrestle, and he does a really good job of that. The other thing that he does is he's really active. Like when he does get clinch and control, so he ends up really tiring out his opponents. Um, he's got some really good finishes. Um, he's so active and he pushes forward and he just feels like a perfect fit for a contender series fight. So some really good finishes. Love seeing these finishes in like rounds 3 and 2. Like I said, he will lean on you, make you defend, wrestle you until you're so tired that you end up getting finished. So he has good striking. His pressure is you know what? I forgot to share the screen. Sorry, guys. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, I love seeing these finishes in round 3 and round 2. This fight against Nico Echeverry, I thought was great. I thought it was one of his best performances, maybe his best performance. But he's going to get you tired, man. If you allow him to push forward and you get caught up against the fence, and he just starts trying to ragdoll you, you're going to be in a world of hurt. Now, there's something about Ottoni that I kind of like. First off, we haven't seen Ottoni since 2022, and I got to tell you, that man has put on some muscle. Maybe he's taking the good vitamins. I don't know, but look at his physique today compared to back then. Yikes! So let's just get that out of the way. This man's going to be a lot more powerful than previous fights. Um, his striking is sneaky powerful. I say sneaky powerful because I see some of his strikes that kind of come from nowhere and they don't look like they're that powerful, but they just land in the right spots and he could really do some damage. It's a great submission win here. Thought his performances in LFA and Samurai were really good. Don't be surprised if Tony's a really tough out for Steele. And do not be surprised if Tony has some moments on the feet. I'm not going to lay the juice on Kody Steele at minus 200. It just doesn't feel right. Tony's going to be taller, absolutely taller. So Steele, he's going to be able to push up against the fence, but he's going to have to be wrestling a much bigger body. So there's a lot of unknowns about a Tony, and we've seen some of these people that haven't fought in a while come on Contender Series and they look great. People without a lot of film, they've looked great. So I'm not getting to the window on Kody Steele. I'm guessing he's probably going to be a big time. Well, I'm guessing a lot of people are going to bet on him. Don't be surprised if a Tony really gives him a run for the money. An upset win wouldn't surprise me. uh, at all. So, all right, we are getting to the main event, Sterling and Latu. I want to tell you guys, we have our 5% cross sport parlay of the week that is up. These have been our bread and butter in 2024. They just have. Last 3 months, we're 18-7 plus 26 units on these. We're up 151 units all sports in 2024. And these are just the hidden gem of our gambling world. All access clients know that when we put out these cross sport parlays, it's hammer time. So if you haven't gotten one of these, highly encourage everyone to go grab that. I know it's college football season. I know it's NFL. I know we got UFC Noche. Get some of these plays that are in some of the other sports so you can build your bankroll and bring in these units. We've done it with sports that some people aren't familiar with, and guess what? Now they love it when we do these cross sport parlays in some of these other sports. So I will tell you that there's a couple UFC plays involved along with another sport, but there's no reason to not get this one. We're number one lifetime in cross sport parlays. 18-7. We've hit our last two 5% cross sport parlays. That's the one that we're building our bankroll around this week. So encourage everyone to get that over at wagertalk.com. All right. Good shot of Brian Power there. All right. Sterling and Latu calling for the upset. I am calling for the outright upset here. Steep price on Sterling at minus 260. Oh my gosh. Does this give me Will Curry vibes from last week? Sterling, super muscular, looks the part. He's only had 4 fights, and Sam Key is terrible. If you remember watching Sam Key in PFL, Sam Key is terrible. He also beat this guy. Here's my problem when I watch these fights. Sterling just doesn't quite look like it just doesn't look like he's ready. He doesn't I mean he looks really athletic, give him that. I think he needs more experience. His striking has good power. He just doesn't look that comfortable. He looks indecisive at like what he's going to do next or how to set something up. And he's benefited from beating up on some of these guys that are just not very good. And I think his indecisiveness is going to get him in trouble in this fight. And that's why I like Latu. Latu, when he gets in the ring, he is the alpha. And I think he's going to be the alpha in this one, and Sterling's going to end up being the beta. Latu is one of these just ultra tough, rugged, like you look at him with his shirt off and you're like, okay, tough guy, but I don't know. This is like not ripped and shredded. And this is a guy that can take a punch, walk through a punch to deliver punches of his own. You see, he's got his finishes. He can do it in round 3, done it in round 2. He's done it in round 1. I think mentally he's just going to be tougher than Sterling. And as we saw in the Will Curry fight, Will Curry he just didn't have that it factor. And Latu is not going to be scared of the moment. I think Latu is just going to look like the more experienced guy. And even though, what is he, 6-1 MMA, he's got some kickboxing fights on his record as well. I think Latu's toughness, it's just going to make Sterling feel really uncomfortable. And I don't think Sterling is going to get in a groove. And I don't think he's going to be able to get kind of I don't want to say the easy KOs, but yeah, I'll say easy KOs. Knocking out Sam Key isn't like it's like look at Sam Key. Like this guy was getting demolished by Juan Adams and Josh Silveira in in PFL. The only reason he did get knocked out against Hamlet, I remember watching this fight because I had a bet. Was Hamlet hurt himself punching Key in the first round? Like Hamlet like broke his hand or something. So like so when I get this guy Sterling who could only get the finish in round 3 against Sam Key, gigantic red flag. I think Latu. I think when that fight starts, you're gonna if you have a bet on Sterling, you're gonna be terrified about a minute into that fight when you see Latu feels comfortable and you see Sterling just not confident with what he's doing. I think he's gonna make some mistakes on the feet. I think he's gonna like he may shoot at the wrong time and get caught. He may like not get his timing right. I think the nerves get to Sterling because I just haven't liked his confidence level in some of these fights. So this is a wonky card here, guys. I think this could be an interesting one. You've got these two women fighting. Laframboise coming off a big layoff. Caliari can't find a whole lot of film. Tanzilov hasn't fought in a while. Musasa, 3 fights already this year. A lot of violent finishes. Tanzilov, I've seen him gasp, but then I've seen him look great. Strange there. Belgaroui is the only one that I feel confident I know what to expect from him. It's going to be a long, like those long kicks, those long jabs, good elbows if it gets in close. Kody, Steele, and Ottoni, I know what Steele's going to try and do. Forward pressure, hold up against fence. Like Tony's going to be ready for him, and I think he's going to clip Steele a couple times. And then Stirling, I didn't like his body language in some of those fights, and Latu is just not going to be intimidated by anybody. Even at faceoffs, it was just like Latu just looks like he's got that dog in him. So I think Latu at plus 200 is probably the best underdog bet. Belgaroui, you're obviously going to have to put that in a parlay with something, but I do like his chances to get the win. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it. Once again, if you could just hit the like button, it really helps the algorithm out. Leave a comment. Tell me who you like. If you don't have a great comment, just type the word tender. It helps me out. I always like reading the comments and responding to you guys. Thanks very much for joining us. Good luck on all your plays. Don't forget to get that 5% cross sport parlay, and we will see everyone later.